Hi there, my name is As-Samad from asamadlessons.com, and today I'd like to address a question from Friko Miko Doko about how to develop certain lick patterns based on scales without just playing 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, just the notes in scales, in motions, in sequences, but trying to create creative licks based on the scales. To those who may have not watched my previous lesson on practicing scales, you can also check that out because it's related to this one. There'll be a link below on that as a related lesson. But basically, I'll show you the two typical ways that he mentioned here first, and then I'll show you two other methods that you can use to get out from the scale rut, to get out from playing just the same old licks again and again. So we're going to take a chord, let's say D minor 7. Now in D minor 7, for instance, I'm going to use the scale, the mode, Dorian. So D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D. A typical approach would be, to probably use scale sequences. So for instance, something like that, where it's very scalar, so there's no leaps. A lot of people end up, when they learn scales, they play it in sequence exactly the way it is, without any leaps, any skips, without any string skipping. Now, so once you've kind of gotten bored with just playing the scales up and down like that, usually most people discover sequences. So maybe or something like that. You're still playing the scale, but they're in sequences, and these are the kind of materials that I learned and I heard in abundance, especially in the John Petrucci book, in the wonderful work of German Schaus. He has a lot of great sequences in his books, and also Paul Gilbert. Paul Gilbert has this immense mastery, especially early Paul Gilbert material. Now, what I like to introduce is intervallic playing. Now, intervallic playing means that you're using different intervals to create melodies. So if I have D minor, for instance, and let's say I'm using this particular scale pattern, these two octaves here, what I could do is I could choose maybe a larger interval, like a fifth. In fact, let me just use first, one of my favorite patterns is actually just to take the shape of the chord and play it as a melody. D, A, C, F, for instance. Then maybe take another pattern. This is a tribute to one of my favorite jazz guitarists, Garrison Fuo, who recently passed away. And he taught me this shape, which I love and I still use a lot, which is E, D, A, F. So it's an F major 6, major 6 with a major 7. So maybe I'll go. So what happened there is I'm basically taking two chord shapes, D minor 7, D, A, C, F, and F6 major 7, and connecting them as a melody. And so one was going up in direction, and one was hitting down. Then maybe I'll go here, and now I'll use sequencing, but I'll use sequencing where I'm actually using a larger intervallic shape. This E, D, A, F was a second, going down a fourth, and going down a major third. So if I start the same thing, G to F is a second, F to C is a fourth, and C to A is a major third. Minor third, sorry. So I have So that's very different. Okay, I have gotten out from this particular position. I'm here now, but I'm still in the scale, so I'm playing a diatonic line, but the diatonic line is very different. Joe DiOrio, for instance, would use intervals like fourths and fifths. So if I was creating a Joe DiOrio inspired line, I might do maybe something like that, you know. D, G, A, G, C, D, C, F, G, F, B, C, D, A. So that's an example of line. So we have two lines now. And so they're very kind of different experiences than playing scale sequences. I'm thinking of larger intervals, preferably at least a third and a fifth, or something larger than just seconds or like playing scalar stuff. So when I warm up, if I like this phrase, I'll use that as my warm up routine. Then maybe. So I'll start using those as my new D minor or Dorian kind of warm ups, and that's the concept I want to show you. So that was intervallic soloing or intervallic lines. Now the next one is kind of a development of this intervallic kind of playing, which is motivic soloing. Now motivic soloing can be used you can use it for scale sequences as well. But the idea of motivic soloing is something I learned from at Tomasi when I was in Berkeley, which is to take an idea and to develop it. Instead of always trying to find a new lick, you take one lick and develop it. For instance, take that initial idea, the one I did earlier, D, A, C, F. Now, what I can do is, if I'm looking at it in terms of within the scale, where I could take that and I'll sequence it up. Okay, so now E, B, D, G. Now, that's still in the scale, but now it outlines an E minor 7 chord. If I take it higher, F, C, E, A, that's F major 7. If I continue the same thing, diatonically, G, D, F, B, A minor 7, B minor 7, C major 7, and back here. Now if I want, so now I have a sequence of sorry about that. So this is something I would practice. I'm going to use different rhythms to keep it well, basically to keep it interesting. But I'm going to use these note choices are what I'm using to create the melodies. So we'll see how it goes. 1, 2, 3. So that's an example of me improvising using that sequence now. So that's one way where I'm taking the sequence and I'm changing the rhythms to make an interesting solo or an interesting part, but only using that one idea. Now, how can I develop it? How can you develop it? So let's say I have that. What I can do now is I can kind of morph the idea by maybe changing the last note. For example, if I did, I could change the F into a G. So I could do. same thing with the E minor. And G. A minor. B minor double. C major. So this is all diatonic to D Dorian, by the way. And so the solo is improvised, but the melodic ideas have been practiced to keep it thematic, for example. One, two, three, four. That's an example of just me improvising around that idea. So this is a very far cry from doing a scale sequence. Now, the other thing you can do is, if I combine that earlier, those motifs, I have the longer motifs, which in this way, right now we can view them as true composed motifs. They're longer phrases that use these intervallic ideas, right? So I can start off by using motivic development and then go into one of the those longer phrases that we did in the first half. So, see how it goes. One time. There you have it. To recap the four ideas we had, we can start off by learning a scale just by itself, like that, just learning it up and down, and start soloing up and down, and then later on develop them into scalar sequences, and then start using intervallic motifs. And they don't have to just be this, it could be any kind of interval, like I said. Joe Diorio inspired Calverheyen might do something. Maybe something like that. He might do things that span the fretboard. If I was into Guthrie Govan or something, I might try to explore large lines that go from the beginning, from the lower part of the fretboard to the higher one, to the higher notes all the way at the end. Now that's something that we might cover in a future lesson, where how do you create lines that go all across the fretboard. Intervallically, and then motivically. Motivic just means to take one idea, sequence it, and develop it. Basically tell a story. Motivic soloing is all about telling a story. So you don't grab another lick, for instance, and go, and then you don't grab different melodic motifs. Take one idea, develop it, and see how far you can stretch it. A great person to listen to for this kind of style of soloing is to listen to any Jim Hall solo. Hope this helps you out. So if you like the video, please click like, check out all the text and additional material, a lot more lessons at asamatLessons.com. And if you have a lesson request or a question, please leave a comment below, and I hope to see you around next time. All the best.